Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of our podcast, the C Podcast. And today we have Manjoo Shree with us, one of the psychologists that is going to share, who is going to share many things about her journey, and then what has she learned about psychology so far, and how is everything going on, and what's her mission, and what does she want to prosper and make the society understand in terms of psychology. So hi Manjoo Shree, hi, welcome to our podcast. Just tell me, how are you?
Hello, Devansh. Thank you very much. I want to thank Project C for firstly reaching out to us and helping us share our word across to the public. It is a big leap for us to share in different platforms like yours. Firstly, I want to
Right.
appreciate your initiative taken.
Thank you, Manju. Thanks a lot. Means a lot, of course. Work such as yours that actually help us understand and also help us drive through our mission as well. So thank you for your kind words. And with that, we'll just start. Manju, could you please let us know about your experience? Yeah. So a little bit about your experience, and could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay, hello everybody. I am Dr. Manjoo Shree. I am a clinical psychologist by profession. I have around 21 years of experience in psychology. So, professionally, though you may call me as a clinical psychologist, I am more into motivational training because I believe motivation is something which gets us out of the bed. The time we get out of the bed, we want somebody to be there motivating us, or we want our mind was to be motivating us. So, motivation is an integral part of our life. So, I would call myself more of a motivational trainer with a clinical psychology background, and I specialize in resilience training. So, what is resilience training? Is all of us have gone through some kind of pain in our lives, right from the
Right.
time we are born to the time we are right now. Each of us are with different varying degrees of pain. Now, how are we going to use this pain? Is it towards growth, or is it towards a trauma, or as a self limiting belief? Is all up to us. I truly believe each of us have a superwoman or a superman inside us, and all that we need to do is unleash ourselves, and that's what Lifeolicious, that's my digital platform, helps you to do.
Right. So is it on Instagram? What are the platforms that you're present on?
We are on all the social media platforms. I would like to really thank technology for that. Previously, it used to be just one on one sessions or more of a word of mouth session, because psychology and counseling are more private. Induced sessions previously, but now I'm very thankful to technology and also the people's mindset that they have been able to open up and talk to us when they are going through a personal struggle rather than giving up. Sometimes,
Right.
Devansh, it is a matter of life or death. So
Right.
I would really appreciate everyone to open up and speak up.
Right, right. So I'm just curious to understand the amalgamation here, Manju. You have mentioned that you are from psychology background, and I mean you're a counseling psychologist, and then you've also mentioned the spirituality in between, and how did that amalgamation came along with you?
I believe science and nature, both of it works at par together.
Hmm.
So for every science, it has to be backed up with the nature's backing. That is, our body is something what nature has given us. The energy what we create in our body is called science. For example, we call it vibe, we call it cult, we call it ashtam. In Tamil, we would say, there are different languages, different words for
Okay.
it, but all that we mean to say is personality.
Right.
Even Devansh, just talking to you, I'm able to assess what kind of person you are. How nervous are you right now? Or, did you have a good day? I'm able to assess
Right.
that, and I'm sure you would be able to do the same as well. So, we don't really need much to probe with science. It's all already there. We got to just open our eyes and look into it.
Right. Yeah, it's a wonderful take on that. But I just want to ask you, this is again out of something. Do you think I'm nervous right now? I'm just a question.
Yes, you are. You are
Oh,
nervous. Yes,
okay.
you are nervous. Probably you may have had a day of chaos. in
Right,
different ways.
right,
It may
actually.
not be a physical day of chaos,
Right,
but your mind seems a little cluttered right now, and but yet you're actually trying your best to give this all your attention and
right,
focus.
right, right,
That's
right. Yeah,
appreciable.
right. Actually, there's a problem with the schedule, I guess, here and there. So that's might be the issue, but not exactly nervous. But yeah, thanks. I mean, it's wonderful that you can understand instincts and understand actually the personality. It's great. All right. All right. The thing that you have mentioned before about resilience, right? And of course, we all go through certain aspects in our life where we always face certain problems, and then we come out of it somehow. But then I just want to understand what can resilience help us with this, how to overcome these kind of problems with the help of resilience. Of course, resilience is the most important factor,
Mm.
but how could we just turn on or turn off, how can we exactly go through it?
The most interesting fact about is that Devansh, all of us as humans, we are all designed to be in a sympathetic nervous system. That is, we are all the time on a fight or flight response. Like, say getting out of bed, as simple as that, or taking a shower. It's a fight or flight response. You have to give yourself that push. Only then would you be able to, like you rightly mentioned, switch on to the
Right.
parasympathetic nervous system. So we are
Mhm.
designed to be on sympathetic nervous system. Our ancestors, they were living in jungles wherein they had all the wild animals around them. So anytime they were ready to face a drought, a famine, or a wild animal pouncing on them, so they always had this extra sensory perception. So the sympathetic nervous system was always turned on. So, like you rightly mentioned, how to turn off that and then get on to a parasympathetic nervous system is a few techniques and simple techniques and simple thought process and perceptions. What a guided person like me who have experienced and also researched through can help you with.
Right, right, right. And Manju, again, the perceptions that you're talking, how could we understand that? I mean, since we are all different human beings, we are all different, and the thought processes or the techniques, that might work on some, that might not work on some. Is there something universal about it, where we can apply on to everyone? Again, is there a universal concept here?
Well, I love the question because I have been working through this question for the longest time because we are all born differently, though we all have the
Right,
same blood. We all react differently. Devansh, I'm going to ask you this question. Imagine both of us are walking into a forest.
right. Mm-hmm.
We see trees of different kinds around us. We have a few trees which are fully grown, which are majestic, gigantic. There are a few trees which are dwarf like, but yet which looks really nice, and there are also a medium sized tree. Do we judge the trees?
No, of course, no.
Yeah,
No.
because that's nature, and that's a
Right,
forest, and that's how it's meant to be. It's the
right.
same with us humans. We are all different, but we are all nature by.
Right. Mm-hmm. Perfect. So, how do we make others understand this concept, Manju? Because it's really tough,
Yeah,
extremely tough. I don't know why. I mean, the example that I've given, I think it's one of thought provoking. I must say, because it's completely new. When you go to a forest, you actually don't care about it. I mean, you accept the things, you embrace things then and there. But when it comes to life, I think that embracement or that power or that level of embrace, I don't think we all have. Some of the other time, you might be having it. Of course, since you have come to a understanding, and you have a plethora of knowledge that you have gained, and I'm sure the experience that you share, it is something where you understand what life exactly is, and how exactly you can go with it. But when we talk about human beings such as us, others, or someone who is not waking up, of course, how do they embrace these kind of changes or these kind of differences? Because we're all different, and we accept the differences in the forest, but we don't accept the differences that we might have. We might think that certain things are good for us, certain things are bad. Maybe I'm not fit, or maybe embarrassed of certain things as well. So how does this, how do you apply the example on the human being, and how do you think we can learn from it?
Okay. Well, for the first question, the one what you asked, that is, how do we make somebody else understand? The answer is no. We cannot make anybody understand this. Each one has to go through their own process. of looking into the vision, removing their sunglass visions, whatever they would be wearing.
Right.
So that's not possible. We cannot make someone realize it. It's not
Mm-hmm.
something what you can do for someone. It has to be experienced within. For the second question, that is, how do we embrace this concept, is by firstly accepting that we are just this tiny, weeny humans in this big universe. All of us have this feeling that, we feel only our lives matter, and we become the biggest hero or the biggest screen players in
Right.
our story.
Right. Right.
Let me tell you, but we are just a teeny weeny bit. And I don't think anybody would be even thinking about us as much as we do, honestly.
Right. Of course. Of
Uh,
course.
so I think we take ourselves too seriously, which is absolutely not necessary. Things which are important to us today can also be done tomorrow. It is okay to be not okay, and it is okay to just look at yourself and just relish and enjoy being yourself rather than anything else. As you wake up every day morning, just sensing that you're alive and you're making it through the day when there are 100 people around you who may be breathing their last breath.
Right, right, right. That's something worth to think about. So Manju, I just want to ask. We all have again the same question. How do we embrace, or let's say, how do we start embracing ourselves? Is there a process of starting to embrace ourselves, or do we have anything like that scientifically, let's say, or again natural, anything? How do we start loving ourselves again? Because loving ourselves is, I think, the most important factor and important aspect as well. I think we are coming there. We are slowly
Yeah.
coming there since we have spoke about embracing and understanding the differences. So how do you think we can start actually doing this?
Devansh, it's like tasting a bottle of salt. So unless I have the salt, I don't know how the salt tastes. And only if I know how the salt tastes, I can add it to my rice to add flavors to the already existing rice. So we are all like the rice. We are all the major component of life. And whatever we add to it, we need to know the flavor of it. We need to experience it to add flavor to our lives or to somebody else's life. Like you rightly mentioned, sometimes or most of the time, each of us are so focused on getting love, and so we go around finding love in different things, different objects, different things, or with different people at times, which may or may not be to your liking or to your receiving end. So that
Right.
sometimes can be temporarily to an anxiety provoking or to minor behavioral mishaps, or sometimes in larger perspective it may even lead to death when we become addicted to something
Right.
so much that
Right.
we
Right.
forget ourselves in it. So I would say the one short method to make sure that you are open to this process is to learn about yourself, discover yourself. Know that you are a mixture of positives and negatives. You know about your positives and negatives before somebody else knows it, because if somebody else knows it before you, they are going to be using you for it. It is a human
Right.
tendency. So you got
Right.
to know your positives, you have to know your negatives, and overall, knowing all of this, you have to embrace yourself and accept yourself for whatever you're born with, because there is nobody like you in the entire universe. There are roughly 7 billion people in this world, and there's only one you. There's only one
Right.
Devansh. The eyes you have, the hairstyle, what you have, the way you talk, the way you are connecting with me. There's only one of
Right.
you in this entire universe. And of course, additional bonus are your fingerprints and your DNA. But
Right.
just knowing this fact, how can you not love yourself?
Right, right. Wonderful insight. Thanks, Manju. So I'm actually very peculiar to know about you now. I mean, of course, we have understood a little bit about the topic that we're talking about, but now I just want to know about you. So, when did you start this process? I mean, not process exactly, but when this has come to your life, how psychology has come into your life, and how did it, exactly start your journey?
So I belong to the small town called Coimbatore, which is in South India, which is called the
Yeah, of course.
Manchester of South India.
Right.
So I belong to a middle class family where my father's side of the clan, once a girl reaches 18 years, she's happily married off and said bye bye to. They feel the responsibilities are done. And my mom was more of a fighter. So she was the one who always used to encourage me to follow different paths and be the black sheep in the family, quite authoritatively. So I was more or less like a rebel, you would call it, right from the time I was young. And that always made me think about the stuff what we spoke about, like how Devansh was saying, you are inquisitive about how this came up.
Right,
So I was inquisitive about so many other things in life. I was a hyperactive kid. I was always wanting to know more. I was always wanting to search answers. And psychology and interior designing was the major what I found to be interesting to me when I was looking for majors. But interior designing was something what I was more interested in, honestly. And psychology was the second major. But as time went by, I loved psychology because I was starting to know facets about myself which I never thought about. So slowly it became intriguing as a subject. I started researching in it. I finished my master's, and then it was my master's in philosophy, and then it was a PhD which I recently completed. So psychology is fascinating to me. I think for me the best decision of my life so far I have taken would be to choose psychology as my dream of growth for my life, and also to be of service to so many other people around.
right. Great, great. Again, I'm very much curious to know about, because it's very hard to find people who are so much vocal, or at least who understand the intricacies of life, that small aspects, and understanding that things happen because you're living a life worth 100 years, let's say, or just the maximum from 0 to 100 you live life, and then there are certain events that happens in your life. It just happens. It has to, because time is running out there, and something or the other has to happen. Even though you're sitting here, they must be happening. I mean, certain events are happening, and certain events might have certain kind of repercussions on you, certain kind of consequences, and certain actions might not affect you at all. And so I just want to know, when you were a kid, when you were like a very small kid, how were you? I mean, I understand that you are like this because, of course, you have learned psychology, and certain things might have happened to you. But then, before all of these things happen, and you have come to this transition of who you are right now, the one who can tell me that I'm nervous, which I'm not. Perhaps I was actually, I was a little chaotic back then. Certain things were happening, so of course I wouldn't take nervous because I've already done certain thing. But again, since you are the one here taking the role, so yeah, a little bit maybe because of the time constraints. But of course, you have told me that I'm nervous, and then you have also mentioned that when you go to a jungle. I mean, that analogy, that's amazing. So I just want to know, before this transition of yours, perhaps this version of yours, I'm sure there was some other version of Manju, and she might have been someone who might have struggled with similar problems as well. And we are human beings, we are ought to struggle with certain conditions in our lives. So I just want to know, how were you back then, when you were facing little issues, and how are you right now, and how has that transition happened from that Manju Shree to this Manju Shree?
Thank you for this question, Devansh. It always helps me get back to my roots as well, to remember where I came from. I would say the transition exactly happened at the year 2013. So I get married. I was a very average student by then. I was always artistic. I was dancing and singing, so talking came naturally to me. I always liked to talk to people, bond with people, and leave them a little better than they came to me. That was something what I instinctively had. But I never knew that was my strength or I could work on it until 2013. So what happened in 2013 was more or less like a complete negative vortex in life. Our family, we went through a physical assault, and it was a huge news which happened in our place, because nothing like this happens. So by the end of it, I had one person from the police coming in and asking me, so you say you're a psychologist, and you don't even know that these things were happening around you. How naive could you be? Or how good as a psychologist are you? That kind of hit that boom factor in me, because until then I was a postgraduate. I was more or less happy go lucky kind of a person. But that question created so much impact on me that I started researching and thinking about other women who may be also going through something like this but not open or talking about it. See, I was educated, I was civilized, I had a family to back me up. But yet I didn't have the guts to get up and speak up for me or to speak up for anybody. I just felt shattered, and in fact, I didn't even want to live further. I
Right.
came to a complete down vortex. So when you reach the total
What?
bottom, Devansh, there is only one way. You only got to go up. So when
Right.
I researched, I found that 1 in 9 women are thinking of suicide every single day in the place I live, that is Salem and Namakkal. And that became my moving theory for the rest of my life. I felt if God has made me go through this, then there should be a purpose of why I'm going through this, and I need to be there for people who are or going through or maybe going through something like this. They should be better equipped, and maybe I was saved, but somebody else is not every single day. And that
Right.
became the voice of my life, and that became my mission eventually.
Perfect. Uh, yeah, interesting. And I just want to ask, does everything has a purpose? Because I think right now the conversation is moving to a place where I have not imagined. Basically, when we start the conversation, we don't imagine that we would go somewhere where we're trying to understand the truths of life. This podcast is basically to make sure that we understand, what we are, who we are, and try to gain certain experience from certain someone who might have faced certain similar issues, and how exactly we can come out of it. But right now, where we are, I think we are more about unraveling the truth. There are many dark things that happen without us noticing it. And when they actually happen, you get back and then try to understand or get back to your roots and then start thinking about it. But we don't do it. We don't do that on a normal phase of life. We just don't go there. We don't try to understand or, unravel the truth as such. It's only when certain bad things happen to us, we go back, try to understand, figure it out, and we're just so carefree, when we are happy, or let's say when we are not affected with certain something. So I just want to know, how do we understand this part, this part where we understand the truth? Because if all the things are meant to give us certain reason, or if certain things are happening for a reason, then why do we struggle, in terms of living, if we understand this concept? So how do we understand this concept completely, or think that all has happened for for a certain something? Because I myself believe that certain things happen to us and it's very harsh sometimes, and I don't think we can justify that, giving that this might have happened for a reason. And if at all we can, maybe not at that particular point of time. Not everyone are blessed enough, or maybe certain situations, they just can't give you this kind of hope. Well, it's understanding that this might have happened because of some reason, because it's completely different again. And there are lives, I'm telling you, because I have heard people, I have seen people have, and I don't think they will say something like this, that this might have happened for a reason. So how do we tell ourselves that? How do we educate our own soul, health, body, whatever, heart, etc.? So how do we do that and make us understand? Because sometimes it really gets tough to understand.
Okay, so Devansh, both of us are playing a video game, okay?
Right.
We are in level 1, and both of us are playing with a maximum passion, and we love
Right.
that high what the game is giving us. But if we aren't getting any intruders in there,
Mm-hmm.
that is, we are just leveling up without really trying hard. We just level
Mm-hmm.
up, and then we keep
Right.
gathering points, and then we go to the level 2, we keep gathering points. What's
Right.
the point of the game? Is it exciting for you?
Right. It won't be, of course.
It's not exciting for me as well. So what makes it
Right.
exciting is when there is an enemy or there is something obstruction which comes through your way, and then you jump on it, or you win your way through them, and then you level up. You find this kind of enlightenment, saying, "Hey,
Right.
I did it."
Right. Right.
Now, all that I want to ask you and everybody else is, if just a video game like that is, is so big,
Right.
imagine life.
Right.
It's a much bigger platform what we are playing on. The problem with us is we believe a life should be this set of, this set of consequences, and this is how it should be. Sadly, that's not something in our control. So, for example, if I feel, I would be happy if I get up in the morning, I go do my gym, I send my son to school, I'm able to cook everything, and the whole the dishes are laid on the table, and everybody appreciates me, and I feel loved. Everybody makes me feel loved. I get appreciation from my boss, and I'm heading on to the Devansh interview, where this interview goes on really well, and everybody loves me, and I sleep peacefully with my body whole and healthy. I'm sure this is something what all of us want. This is what I want from my
Ideal.
life. But is this how it's gonna be? No. It may or may not be. There may be few things which works to my liking. There may not be things which will work to the kind of life what I drafted. My day could be bad, it could be worse, it could be good, or it could be even best. That's something which is out of our control. But what is in our control is to be embracing and to do our best for every moment what life gifts us. That's something which is in my control, and I would probably work on that rather than controlling the situation which is not in my control. Roughly speaking, Devansh, let me put you in three simple ways. When we are dealing with problems, there are three things what we can do. One is like a video game. Either you can just wait for the opponent to come and go. You keep waiting all your life, thinking the problems will go away, but they don't. Solution number two is you stand there ignoring that the problem is there, and you just keep rushing through it, and the game is over. You are killed because you're not even watching. Solution number is three. You know that there is an obstacle which is coming your way. You're kind of accepting that it's an obstacle. You're geared up to find out how it works. Maybe you may lose once, you may lose twice, you may have to use a lifeline, but eventually you level up and you get over that obstacle. Then that's how life works.
Right. Understood. Well, thanks, Manju. I think, of course, the audience who are listening to us, they might definitely find it meaningful. I wouldn't say the word interesting, because this is not something of someone's interest. I'm sure this is more towards truth, and this is more towards embracing ourselves. So I'm sure they find it resourceful, at least, so that they can understand what exactly to be done. And right. So, Manju, tell me, how do you keep yourself calm, or how do you actually accept not yourself, because that you have done already. So, yeah, how do you keep calm at times of chaos? At times of chaos, how do you keep yourself calm? How do you keep yourself composed? Because you're a human being again, and I just want to understand your mantra. Let's say there's something very chaotic going on. How do you deal with it? I mean, of course, I've understood that the solution three that you have proposed, you know that something's happening and you can't control things, so you just have to go on and try to figure out a way and face the challenges. I think that is what you meant by that. So how do you face the challenges that you find in your life, and how do you go about it?
Devansh, my life is not perfect, and I'm not a perfect person either. There are my moments of complete upheaval, and I get overwhelmed pretty easy. There are, and the advantage of knowing all of this is because I know that this is what is happening to me, so I'm able to recognize the signs once I know things are getting out of hand, and I'm also getting a little shattered in my brain, or my body just starts getting into an anxiety mode, wherein I start sweating, and I know I may be saying some things which I don't really mean, but I just want to burst it out. So I'm human by the end of the day. What helps me get through that moment is this too shall pass. Be it as worst as the situation it could be something which I never wanted to happen in life, but if it had happened, I also know that it will pass, and I'm going to be passing through it. At some point I'm going to be out of it.
Right. All right. So, Manju, there's this interesting question that just popped up in my mind.
Yeah, please.
Certain
I'm loving
things
the
are
questions,
unfair.
Devansh, so please keep them coming.
Right. So, sometimes, you know, certain things happen and they are very unfair to us, or let's say to certain someone. And sometimes you might not even deserve that. Let's say, something has happened in your family, and as you have mentioned earlier, one of the incidents that has happened to you that woke you up. Let's say a certain thing has happened. I mean, suicides or something like that is a terrible thing. Of course, you don't foresee it, and you don't understand what's going on in someone's mind and what might happen in the next moment. And let's say something like this have happened, and the family, it's in turmoil, or let's say some certain things is happening, and they are unable to fathom what's going on, and it's a complete turmoil. uh, how do you think this mantra of yours can be helpful? Because we have actually, the topic is of course, growth through pain. And how do you, explain this aspect, and how do we actually use resilience here, or let's say learn something from here? Because it's absolutely, horrifying to, even understand that certain thing has happened to someone.
Yeah.
So could you tell me, at that kind of situations, because we are talking about mental health, how do we
Yeah.
keep ourselves calm, or let's say how things should work on further?
Devansh, the biggest realization of my life so far, I'm 41 years young. So, what I have learned through 21 years of theory and research in psychology, and also my experience with life, is we cannot save everybody. Though we want to, I may want a whole lit up world where everybody's happy and I'm happy, everybody's happy, my son is safe, and everything goes just the way I want it to be. But we cannot save everyone. Not everyone would also be ready to take our help. Each one has to go through their way, or the way
Their
their
own
life is
healing process.
supposed to be. So I can only guide and be a Google map to you, but the driver has to decide whether they want to take the map what I draw for them, or they want to choose a different destination overall for them. I cannot really help that. So be it with family or friends, be each other's Google map. Be an honest listener. Listen to
Wow.
them, not just the words, but also from their heart as to what they are talking. Please take mental health seriously. If somebody says they are going through a rough time, the least what you could do is just hold their hands and just say it's going to be all right. Though most of us defy it, or we think what this is. Most often we say this one is not an issue. What big deal? You're making a big thing out of something small. What maybe small for us could be something big for that person, due to many other various reasons. We do not know their story. Each of us have a story. It's very important to know each other's story, and there is no point of judging anybody because of
Right.
it. So,
Right.
mental health is something uh, what I'm deeply passionate about, and I believe the way we take care of our health, our mental health, is going to be reflecting on all the relationships and the environment around us. So, more than cleaning your house and making sure you're sweeping, mopping the house, I think you should sweep and mop your mind frequently, every single day, to make sure that you are the person you're born to be and you do not stray anywhere from there.
Yeah. All right, let's hope that people understand this aspect. And yeah, I think this has been a wonderful episode, but we are coming to an end. But before wrapping it, I just want to understand the mission that you have spoke to me earlier in the call. You have told that you are on a mission, making sure you're sharing the concept of mental health in women and children mostly. All right, that's your most focused area. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but yes, I've heard that. I think that is that. But could you just elaborate more about your vision and how exactly you are heading towards your mission?
My mission is to reach women and young adults to make
Okay.
sure that they are maximized on their productivity of life by shedding off their limiting beliefs and by changing their brain to growth.
Right.
So this is roughly what I do. How I'm planning to do it, or how I have done it so far, is I've written a few books. I've authored Shifting Gears, which is resilience building book, and also I have a first kind of it in India, a self-help book for children who are
Mm-hmm.
aged 8 and above,
Mm-hmm.
where the whole book works on 40 worksheets where each child can sit down and think about themselves, where they explore their strengths, weakness, what they want to be with life, and find that inner child within them. The next challenge for us, as me, as being a coach, would be to make sure that your inner child is alive and keep you happy, smiling, strong, despite all the obstacles, what the curveballs, what life may be offering you at any point of life. And I'm on a mission to make this world a better place to live in before I head to my last.
Right, right. And how's the progress so far, Manju? I mean, are you content with the progress, or there's still things to do? So yeah, I'm sure, small things that happen when you are actually mission driven. I think that makes you, that keeps you going. So what are the things that keeps you going?
I've roughly reached around over 5 lakh people so far, and the book has reached over 5,000, 6,000 kids. And every single day, there's always a community service event, what I run. There's also this foundation, what I run in memory of my father, which is called the Nachimuthu Foundation, where we are educating underprivileged children on mental health and giving them life skills, what may be needed for them to lead on with the occupations they choose. So I would say so far it's a life well lived. I am content and happy, but of course, there is always more to learn and more to give as long as we are here. So
Right.
I'm hoping we are all able to do it together.
Right. Well, thanks, Manju, on that. For maybe it has been a wonderful episode, and thanks for being a part of us. And I'd love to know about more about the foundation, of course, the foundation that you run. And yeah, maybe we can see how can we Project C Foundation can help you as well, or you can help us as well. We'll look into that. And thanks a lot. It was a wonderful
Thank you,
experience talking
Devansh.
to you. It
It's
was
been a
real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a great interview. I love the questions what you had put forth. It was very intensive and also well thought of. I believe you are a matured soul, and there is a lot of earning in you, which I'm sure is going to lead you to a lot of bigger spaces. Remember me
Right.
when you grow that.
No, no, please, please. I'm being, don't, it's you being humble. No, actually, it basically happens with the conversation. We never, have a script or something. We just dive into the, video, and then we just try to understand what exactly the topic is, just 1 minute or two, and then we end the meeting, and then we start a fresh meeting where we are completely new again, and we try to understand. I think the conversation basically doesn't depend on me. It actually depends on the person who's there, and thanks to you, to letting me understand. I mean, today the whole conversation was different. It wasn't the normal podcast that I used to have with other, with other speakers. I mean, of course, every speaker has their own way of learnings, understandings, and sharing their own prior stories or something. But this has been a way to me as well to understand certain, or ask you certain questions that I might have personally. A certain questions that I haven't asked you to. So I'd be taking reflecting that on me as well. And thanks for your presence, and it was great talking to you.
Thank
And
you, Devansh. What would you say your biggest takeaway was from today's series?
right, I think smile. I think smile at your problems. I think you can't control it. You can't control them for sure. So maybe you smile, you go, you face the challenge. That's it. Sometimes, of course, things might get dark, and it happens. But at the end, you just have to come out of it, because if you don't come out, then who would? I think that's my biggest take.
I would consider this whole podcast to be successful just hearing
Yeah,
from you. Thank you
right,
so much.
right. It does. It is, of course, and I'm sure our audience as well, whoever will listen to us or watch us, they'll love you. They'll love the podcast. Uh, and yeah, let's see, it reaches to many others, and I have, it's really
Definitely. If there
wonderful
are
that.
more questions, what I could answer you or any follower, I would love for you to connect me on my media. I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
for sure try to reply in as
right,
soon as possible. Thank
right,
you,
right.
everyone.
Definitely, Manju. Thanks a lot, Manju. Thanks a lot. Take care.
My pleasure.